He was curious, and he simply was watching.
I'm getting shivers, honestly, just like thinking about that. Most of us have had some type of relationship with animals, whether it's a pet or some type of metaphorical spiritual connection. But it's pretty rare to find that connection with a wild animal. Cheryl Alexander, however, did just that. Her extraordinary relationship with a lone wolf she named Takaya started modestly, but soon after captivated the world. In this episode, we talked to Alexander about her remarkable bond with this lone wolf named Takaya. Can you kind of tell me about Takaya and your first interaction?
He was a lone wolf who in 2012 actually somehow made his way through, possibly even from northern Vancouver Island or even further. Wolves will travel long distances when they're leaving their natal pack or their natal family. He was probably about 1.5 years, 2 years when he headed off, probably to find his own territory and to make his own family. And he traveled through I don't know about what happened before he got to the Saanich Peninsula, but in early 2012, around January, he was seen at the end of in Brentwood, and then which is the northern end of the Saanich Peninsula. He traveled down through Elk Lake. There were a number of sightings of him. There was some photographs taken of him, and then eventually he must have gone to the end of Tama Point and decided, for whatever reason, we won't ever know, to swim across the sort of 1.5 kilometer channel between here and the island archipelago where he ended up.
And is this unusual?
Leaving your family as a wolf is not unusual. Males and females will do it. They often head off to make their own way in the world. It is unusual where he ended up. And the very unusual thing is probably that he chose to stay there.
Right.
And the reason it's highly unusual is, well, for actually a number of reasons. One, it was fairly close to the city, so it was not far away as we mostly imagine wolves to be in the wilderness. Totally. But also, there were no standard prey that a wolf would generally want. So not only were there no deer, elk, moose, larger ungulates that wolves will take down, there were no small mammals of any kind. Right. So on these islands, there are no raccoons, rabbits, other things that the wolf generally might eat. There aren't actually even really many mice. There are a few voles. So he was pretty limited in what he was going to be able to eat.
Take me to that first encounter. Was it you were hearing the story, or how did you first get sort of tipped off?
I had heard about the wolf. Was kind of in the back of my mind. I knew the islands very well. I'd been going to them for many, many years, and was very shocked that there would be a wolf out there. Partly didn't even believe it. But then I did hear, over a couple of years, some howls. But I would say for the most part, in the first couple of years, he kept a very low profile. Right. And in fact, interestingly, what many people don't know about him was that he was there for about 3 months, and then he decided to leave. And he jumped in the water and swam to Trial Island.
Right.
And that's about 5 nautical miles.
And also Trial Islands doesn't have any food. The intention of this wolf is incredible. We will never know why it goes to these islands.
I think he was still searching for a place, and maybe he had figured out that it was going to be a bit hard for him on the island archipelago, because he didn't intend to stay at Trial, I don't think. He went there, and then he went right back in the water, and he actually started swimming west out the Strait of toward the Strait of Juan de Fuca. And it wasn't until he encountered a big fish boat that seemed to be bearing down on him that he turned around and swam back to Trial Island. And then a few days later, he was heard back in the islands. And as far as we know, that was when he decided to stay there.
When did you then decide to see him or reach out?
It was accidental that I saw him. I was out there with my family, my husband, a daughter, and a friend. And it was on Mother's Day, actually, in 2014, and we were drifting through the water in a boat. He had just swum across from one island to the other, and he was just getting out of the water on the beach. And holy crap, there's the wolf. And he then, as if to prove he was indeed a wolf, he disappeared right away, but then he was in the bush howling like crazy. And it was this incredible experience that was, it actually was so moving. I had never heard a wolf howl before. I'd never seen a wolf. But it certainly didn't sound like a ferocious wolf. Right, it wasn't like wolves are ferocious. No, it sounded lonely.
I'm getting shivers, honestly, just like thinking about that. Because in a sense, it's a human story as well. Like, could you get him out of your mind?
I didn't see him again for a number of months, but I was all fascinated. Like, I thought, I need to know, I don't know anything about wolves. I need to know more about wolves. So I started to read up, but I also knew that there were wolves up in sort of more northern areas of BC, and we were going to Desolation Sound on a camping trip. And so I thought, I hope let's go see if we can find some wolves. At that point, I didn't really understand how difficult it is to see wolves.
Right.
I was like, let's go see some wolves.
I saw one the other day.
Yeah. I'd heard that there were some wolves had lived on Cortez Island. And so went around Cortez, didn't see any wolves, of course, and, hunted through the trails. And then that night, camped on a little tiny island. I was awakened the next morning to wolf howls right beside my tent.
Whoa.
And it was the most amazing experience.
Wow.
It in the end, I ended up seeing there were 3 wolves. They were a family, and they did this amazing playing together and howling. And it really struck me how this one wolf on the island that I had seen was alone, and he did not have a family. And as I had begun to learn, wolves are very family oriented. They're intensely loyal, they're intensely loving, and they're good parents, and that is what they're designed to do, is to mate and have family.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking about this lone wolf, and I knew I needed to learn more about his life.
I think when people hear that there is a bunch of wolves outside of your tent, I mean, I would immediately be a bit scared. Were you scared at all with these?
Not at all.
Really? Why not?
I was just so excited and mesmerized by the very serendipitous experience that here I had come to want to understand more about wolves, and they had come to me.
At some point, you grab your camera and you go and you meet the lone wolf that inspired it all. Can you take me through that experience?
At first, I did not see him. Was not easy to find or to see, but eventually I did, and I had a very powerful encounter with him the first time after that howl, right. the howling incident. And I was actually hiking, and he came out right in front of me and just stopped and had looked into my eyes, and I looked into his, and I just was taken in. It was such a powerful experience. And I felt no fear at all in that moment. There was nothing that gave me any indication that he was aggressive. He was curious, and he simply was watching. And that was kind of the start of my obsession with learning about his life and trying to understand it and trying to suss out how he was even living there. And at that point, he had been there for 2 years. In the end, he ended up staying for 8 years. Eventually, slowly, we developed a trust, I would say, an acceptance of each other. And it wasn't, for the most part, when I would see him, I would be in my boat. So there was a separation. Sometimes it would be on land, but he gradually, I think, learned that I was not a threat to him. And so he just would then carry on with his life. And I was able to then observe it, document it. First, I was just taking still photos, and then I decided it was so rich with new learnings about wolves in general, about lone wolves, that I should be documenting it, that I should be videoing it. So I started trying to learn to video.
And at this point, are you still like a professor at UVic, or are you retired?
No, I had retired, and I thought, if I'm going to do something significant in the world, I want it to be that I develop my skills as a conservation photographer, so that I can work toward better awareness of the significance and value of wilderness and of wildlife. So that it just came at the right time when I had lots of time. I had 3 children. I'd been super busy. I was a working mom. My kids were gone. My long-term career was finished, and this was an opening to something that seemed very special.
Yeah, there's an interesting parallel, I guess, between a lone wolf and then you going alone after a year of having kids and a career and going into a new life.
Those 6 years, it wasn't that I was out there every day for 6 years, or even when I went out there, I wouldn't always see him. But I got better and better at understanding his patterns, and also at and this may sound strange, but at sensing where he was. Like, often when I would start to go out on my boat, I would just have a strong feeling of which island he would be on, because he could be on any one of a number of islands, which made it even more challenging to find him. And if he was inland, you'd never see him.
Everybody knows like the stereotype of a lone wolf, but what did you learn about them, and was there something unique about Takaya?
Lone wolves are generally wolves that are leaving their family, and often they're strong wolves that want to be their own dominant wolf, and so they have to leave their pack. They have to leave their family.
Right. In a pack, there's kind of a hierarchy, correct?
Yeah, and generally in a pack there will be a male and a female who will be what they call the alpha. They're starting to get away from that, but basically they are the leaders of the family. And you cannot, as another wolf, come up into that family and necessarily take over that leadership. So if you want to lead your own family, and if you want to procreate, you head off and you find your own territory, and you find a mate, and then you have your own family.
Was there anything to suggest that Takaya may have been in a power struggle within a wolf pack or anything like that?
No, we'll have never any idea really of what caused him to be alone or to decide to take off. Generally, I think the chances are it was just biological, that he was ready and off he went, because they will leave their pack at about the same age he was. It could have been, though, that his pack was destroyed in some way, that hunters or trappers had taken down his family and he was alone. It could have been that he didn't get along with his family and so decided to leave. There's lots of different possibilities. But interestingly, I have spent a fair amount of time over the past years up on Nootka Island.
Yes.
And there are a lot of wolves on Nootka Island, or at least there's at least 1 or 2 families. And they, from some video I have of those wolves, they look very similar to Takaya.
Really?
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had not come from there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, we never know.
We'll never know. Where does the name come from for this lone wolf?
I wanted to have a name for him rather than just call him the wolf.
Yeah.
So I actually went online, and I was sort of thinking, oh, maybe it could be something like Lobo, or those are the only wolves I knew of.
Right.
The famous wolves that had been named something.
Right. Timon or Pumbaa.
Exactly.
Not that they're wolves.
So I decided, I just searched, wolf in different languages, and a lot of the ones I came up with, I didn't seem appropriate, or they'd already been used, or and then I came across a site where it was a Coast Salish person who had a thing called Takaya Tours, and it and on his little blurb it said Takaya means wolf in Coast Salish, and I thought, oh, I really like that name, like that. It looks nice. And so then I put it in and I searched a bit more, and I found out that it also was a Japanese word. And in Japanese, it means honorable one. And that for me sort of cinched it, because I have been very involved with the Japanese art of Aikido, and was very connected to Japan. Philosophically, I follow the tenets of Aikido. And so that I thought, okay, that's the name for me.
Yeah. Aikido, what's Aikido?
Aikido is a martial art.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's a more vigorous form, but it's not Tai Chi, and it's not karate, but it's another very traditional Japanese art form.
Very cool.
Yeah, martial art.
So wait, is it Takaya or Takaya? Am
Well,
I saying it wrong?
No.
I feel like some people say it.
They do.
Okay,
and
there's been both.
I'm good with however people want to say it. So I guess the thing to know about the name for me is that I was only naming it for myself.
Right.
I wasn't naming it. I had no intention at that point of writing a book or doing a movie or anything.
Totally.
It was just something I was calling this wolf. And to me, it honored the Coast Salish peoples who have been here for millennia, and it was where he lived. He was at the junction of the Salish Sea and the Strait. It was almost like he was the keeper of the Salish Sea. To me, he was like a sentry out there where he was positioned. The Songhees, whose territory the wolf was on, their word for wolf is very similar. It's called Takaya.
I've heard that as well. My colleague Cam will say it like that.
And so, any name anyone wants to call the wolf is fine with me.
Yeah.
That was just my very personal name for him.
Not only were you enraptured by Takaya, and Victoria itself, the city, enraptured by it, but the world, like you said, you wrote a book about it. There's a BBC documentary. Tell me about that experience and how your passion for this lone wolf suddenly became the world's passion.
That was wild and unexpected. So one of the things that transpired, after I had been observing him for a year or more, actually more, I decided I wanted to document him through film. And then slowly the idea percolated that it would be a super interesting film to share with people about his life. But I was really worried about exposing him to danger and to public eye. So I made a decision at that point to not put the film out, like to try and make a film, but to not put it out until he was no longer on the island.
Yeah.
Then something happened in 2016 that changed my mind and made me rethink that. And the thing that happened was, and you may have heard of this, there was a couple of hikers and with their young children went out and took their dogs out to the island, and they encountered the wolf. All of a sudden looked around and saw a wolf behind them with their dogs. I think he was interested. He was definitely interested in the dogs. They freaked out, not knowing much about wolves. Later on, they did say he wasn't being aggressive, but they freaked out. They climbed up on top of the lighthouse building out there, the abandoned lighthouse, Foghorn building, and they called for the rescue And the Coast Guard came in, rescued them. The wolf had subsequently moved on. And but as a result of that, what happened was the parks and the authorities decided to close the park and also do an assessment about whether he was a danger to people. And what I learned was that there really was no way they had to do a proper assessment about whether he was habituated or not. Also, everything I had learned about him was that he was not in any way habituated. He was also not a threat to people, and he was doing well by himself. So they told me that they would, if they determined he was habituated, they would kill him.
Wow.
And it was at that point that I thought, you know what? If he's going to be protected in any way, it's going to have to be through public understanding of him and awareness.
Right.
And that then there will be a chance to fight for his life.
Yeah.
So that changed. That's when I decided to go ahead and try and do the film.
We'll be right back with more of the interview. But before that, if you're on YouTube, make sure you click like, subscribe, and hit the bell. A little goes a long way. If you're joining us on Optic TV, make sure you check us out on YouTube. It's Island Sound and Story.
I worked with about 3 different filmmakers over a number of years, none of which worked, and for various reasons. And then I I thought, well, I don't know much about filmmaking. I need to learn more, and I need to learn about that world. So I went to the Jackson Hole Wildlife Film Festival, which is like the Academy Awards of wildlife filmmaking.
Okay, cool.
It's down in Jackson.
Yeah.
And there I met, everyone who has to do with,
Everyone's so cool.
Everyone goes there.
Yeah.
And including Nat Geo and all the big nature
ones, yeah.
From the States and also from Canada. And I met serendipitously a really great producer from England. And she got really enthused and excited about the story. And over the next couple of years, between the two of us, we worked to develop a co-production with the British production company and Canada.
Wow. Yeah.
And we made the film, and it ended up being made under David Suzuki, The Nature of Things. Yeah. And the really exciting thing was that it also was eventually awarded a Canadian Academy Award for Best Science Nature Documentary, which I was really thrilled about. Yeah. And the film came out just toward the end of 2019.
In your mind, why do you think people are so fascinated by Takaya?
I've thought about this a lot because a lot of what has happened has been a big surprise to me. People's reactions, the passions that people have expressed about him, the tributes that started to come in. It started right after the film was released. So the film was released before my book came out. So it was what people knew of his life, and it captured people's imagination, I think. And it also, I think people were inspired by him. By his resilience, by his uniqueness, by his will to survive in a very unusual situation. And so I received the first painting done as a tribute to him from someone after it came out on BBC in the UK, and a woman who lived in Southampton, and she said, "Is it okay if I send you over this painting? Because I just felt compelled to paint him," and I was blown away. I thought, wow, yeah, that'd be great. Well, subsequently, still people are painting tributes to him, and I received hundreds of paintings from many countries around the world. From it was aired in France and Germany on Arte, and people also, I think, started to see it online. And paintings from places like Lithuania and Egypt and France and England and Germany and Australia and the U.S., across the U.S. And not only paintings, but all kinds of other tributes were created, artistic tributes. And the other thing that's been fascinating is tattoos.
Yeah.
People have been getting tattoos. I just received 2 tattoos in the last week of people, pictures of tattoos that they have made.
Wow.
On their body in honor of Takaya.
Amazing.
So there's something that captured, I think, something deep in people. Maybe a desire to connect with the wild in the world. Maybe a desire to understand being alone, as we all struggle a bit with with a state of aloneness.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, and maybe not coincidentally, COVID started just after this.
Yeah.
So I think that caused more people to have this very poignant feeling about Takaya and about his life, and then subsequently about his death.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a parallel there between Takaya being so near to industry or human nature, and yet being so alone, that I think is a dichotomy that I can relate to. It's like that classic maxim: you can be surrounded by people in a room but still feel really lonely. And I think when I think of Takaya, that's kind of where my mind goes to. And there's a freedomness to him, and there's also like some shackles. I think it stirs a lot of poetry in your mind when you just think about his presence, which is so amazing that you were able to connect with him on this big, deep level and share that with the world through your documentaries and books. The documentary itself, what was the process like? Did you film him? How long was it? What did that look like?
Well, I filmed him over quite a number of years. I started actually videoing in, I think it was 2015. A lot of it was not very good. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had a small camcorder.
Okay, wow.
I didn't start off doing it thinking even I would make a film.
Yeah,
I just
it was
was
just
wanting
for
to capture some of the action.
Yes.
We started trying to plan it, I think probably in 2018, working through. But a lot of the footage in the documentary is mine.
Yeah.
Because again, wasn't that easy for them to bring a film crew and go out to the island and think that they would see the wolf.
Right.
Like
Right.
that
Yeah.
just didn't happen. But they filmed a lot of the B-roll and a little bit of the wolf, and then put it together. I went through the whole process. It was super interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So it's 2019. The documentary comes out. People are getting inspired by Takaya. There are, we go into COVID. Between then the documentary being published and all of the wildness with COVID, what is happening in Takaya's life, and what eventually does happen?
He was, I'm pretty sure, pretty oblivious to COVID. But it was January, and that's when WHO declared the pandemic. And it's also the time at the end of January when Takaya ended up in the city of Victoria, which was a big shock to me and to, I think, everyone else. Interestingly, there had been, while we were filming, which was in the spring of 2019, I received a very crazy message. And it was that there was a wolf in front of this person's house on 10 Mile Point. And I just went, what? Like, she says, I think it's your wolf. I went, Takaya? Like, oh my God, what's he doing over on 10 Mile Point? So she eventually gave me a photograph, and the photograph became very evident that it was not him. It was a young female wolf. I subsequently learned and met with people who had seen this wolf in those couple of days, had been swimming in Cadborough Bay, had gotten out, run along the end of Tamal Point. And I thought at that point, well, one, I was shocked that there was another wolf had shown up.
Yeah.
How improbable is this?
Yeah, truly.
But then I thought, well, if it's a young female, she'll probably swim across to the islands if she, hear him howling or... I don't know if that had anything to do with Takaya leaving the island. I think it probably didn't, but it may have.
It's not out of the realm of
it's not,
possibilities.
no. And, he was a male wolf who continued howling and howled more in his mating season, which was the main season is January, February, March time period.
Yeah.
And probably always wanted a female companion. It was not very probable that one would come along. But also it seemed to me if he was going to leave to find a female, wouldn't he have done it when he was younger? Because by this point he was an old wolf, very old for a wolf.
So he was how old, and how old do wolves live usually?
Say he arrived when he was around 2 to 3, which is the probable age. So just say he's 2 on the lower end of it. And he was there for 8 years, so he was 10, going on 11 probably. Wolves in BC generally have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of the reasons for that is because there's a lot of things that kill them in the wild, including humans. Hunting, trapping, cars, and other wolves. They fight for territory. They get kicked by their prey. They don't have vets that they can go to, so their lifespan is
So he's actually living, longer as a lone wolf. Interesting.
He lived longer as a lone wolf, I think, because he was in a very protected environment. His prey, which were seal, primarily.
Oh, wow. So he started hunting seal.
That's what he had to eat.
Wow.
95% seal.
Wow.
And he was really good at hunting seal.
Wow.
He could take down a big seal, like full-size seal,
Oh my gosh.
which was actually bigger than him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they're very vicious. So it was quite incredible.
Yeah.
He also sometimes caught river otter. And I saw him go after mink, but I'm not so sure if he ever really caught them or not. They're very hard, very fast.
Yeah.
So that was his prey.
Right.
A few reasons why he may have left. Maybe some people said, oh, he was maybe hungry. But I don't think that is the case. He had very successfully fed himself for 8 years on the island. He didn't have any problem with that. He was very healthy. I have some trail camera footage of him just a day or so before he ended up in the city, and he was just carrying on like normal. He looked good. And another possibility is that something scared him off the island. So there was a hunter who used to go out there and hunt ducks illegally. If he hunted or shot too close to Takaya, maybe it freaked him out. Another possibility is he swam, I think, every day back and forth between all these islands. And some of the channels in between the islands were very huge currents, like 5-knot currents. And so he was very good at knowing how to navigate them and when. But what if he made a mistake? One time, and it was very stormy. It was end of January. Lots of storms, winter storms. Maybe he got swept away. He would have ended up in Oak Bay and couldn't get back.
Right.
So
there's lots of options of
options.
Maybe why.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll never know that either, but he ended up in downtown Victoria, and for 2 days he roamed the streets as if he was on a mission. And I imagine his mission was to get the heck out of there.
Right. Yeah. 'Cause that's not a friendly place to wolves.
He was on the sidewalks, he was down the streets.
Yeah.
People have videos of him. He didn't go after dogs or people, or he didn't even look at people. It was like he was just moving. The conservation officers were called in, police were tracking him, and it was decided to not kill him, which they normally would do with a large carnivore in the city. I mean, there was a big public outcry on social media, don't hurt the wolf, make sure you protect him. So that was good. What wasn't good was that they opted to not take him back to his territory and his home. He was an old wolf. He had lived there his whole life, and he was put in an area. Well, he was dropped at the top of a logged out hills out in Port Renfrew. At the time he was dropped off out there, rivers were flooding. There was, I think, probably one of the first of the what they call the atmospheric river now.
Yeah.
And it flooded, I think it was in the Souk River, and it killed a couple of people that washed their car away. So that was when he was dropped off above the Gordon River, which would have been in serious flood, and would have also been in serious flood with logs and trees coming down. And the reason I'm saying this is because after he was killed, the vet that examined him said he had 10 broken ribs on one side of his body.
Oh my gosh.
And he had managed to survive. They were healing. So they had likely happened shortly after he was dropped off. And it's probably very likely and most probable that it was something he either was in the river, got pushed into a log jam, or fell with some logs in the forest. So I don't know if you ever had a broken rib.
No, not a broken rib. I have a broken wrist.
So I've had a broken rib, and it is so painful. Like you can hardly breathe. So for a wolf to have 10 broken ribs on one side of his body, and also to have to hunt for himself and to try and figure out, he was far away from seals.
Yeah, which he had been
Which
hunting.
is what he hunted.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now there's elk out there and deer and other wolf packs who will not treat him kindly, and trappers and hunters.
Wow.
So it was probably one of the worst places they could have dropped him.
Yeah.
Anyway, he survived.
Yeah.
And I won't go into all the details, but I ended up finding out where he was. And he had made it down to a road just outside of Port Renfrew. And I think he in the 2 months, so this was from the end of January to the end of March, he figured out how to survive. He figured out how to eat, and he healed. And by the end of that time, I think he was ready to try to go back to his home.
Wow.
And I think he was trying to do that. And the reason I think that is because he was reported then to have gone 50 kilometers from Port Renfrew as far as Souk.
Right.
So he actually made it into Souk.
Yeah.
He then turned around and went back to Port Renfrew. And I believe the reason he turned around was probably because he encountered there are wolf packs out in Souk.
Right.
And the wolves will be very careful to avoid territory already claimed by other packs. So he may have run up against those territories, which they define by scent primarily. And so anyway, he turned around, and he was one day in Port Renfrew, and then he went the other way across toward Shawnee Lake, again 50 kilometers. If you look at the map, that's directly to the Saanich Peninsula, where he actually had initially traveled through to.
Right.
That is actually one of the closest routes for him to get back to his home.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, he didn't, as we know. He encountered a trophy hunter who's a cougar hunter, and came out of a culvert. The trophy hunter had dogs, and I think he probably came out because he saw or smelled the dogs and was standing watching, and this hunter decided to pull his gun out and shoot him just as he was standing there from about 15 meters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And that was it.
tragedy.
That's I mean, I would say that's the story of Takaya, but his story has lasted. He's more of an emblem now. He's more of a symbol, I guess.
Yeah, he
sense.
became an icon.
Yeah.
For wolves. He's you know, he's become a symbol for the power and beauty of wolves, and the possibility of coexisting,
Yes.
which we have to learn how to do as
Right.
humans,
Right.
with the wildlife that we are pushing out of their territories, and as we move further and further into the wilderness, the creatures are compromised. They don't have their habitats that they require. So he's definitely, for his species, a spokesperson.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I became, didn't know I was going to, but I turned from a from a passionate lover of wilderness, of wildlife, of this wolf, to being so angry and so distraught at the regulations that allow the recreational killing of wolves, and at the attitudes that people have toward wolves. And so I turned into an wolf activist.
Yeah.
And I'm it has occupied me for the past almost 5 years now.
Yeah. And it's called, fittingly, Takaya's Legacy.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that and about wolf calls and what you're doing to prevent them?
What I have been really focused on is stopping or having recreational killing of wolves examined. The wolf call is different in that it's done by the government, ostensibly to protect the mountain caribou. I don't agree with it either. I think wholesale slaughter of wolves like that is not acceptable. It's not productive. There are a lot of reasons, so we don't have time to go into that. Yeah. But recreational killing of wolves is condoned in BC, is legal, and is even encouraged sometimes by the Conservation Service. So that is what I have felt that we need change in regulations. Currently, wolves, any hunter with just a standard hunting license can kill up to 3 wolves on Vancouver Island. Wow. Without any permission whatsoever. And in most of BC, it's an unlimited number. Wow. Trappers can trap unlimited number of wolves. There is no special tag that anyone has to take out to kill a wolf. You need a tag to kill a bear. You need a tag to kill an elk, a deer, but not a wolf. Right. Even though we don't have a good handle on the population of wolves even, and what the normal population should be in our wilderness areas. Right. And they're an essential apex predator. Right. So they maintain the health of the ecosystems that we rely on. So my focus was really on pushing for an examination of those regulations that allow that. And one of the things that, lots of things happened. And it wasn't just me. There were lots of people jumped on that as this isn't okay. Right. So there was municipal initiative to, and all the municipalities on Vancouver Island voted and agreed on a resolution to ask the provincial government to review the regulations. Right. They never did that.
Really?
No. There were community organizations who got involved and generated postcard campaigns and taking to the legislature. We had an online petition signed by over 50,000 people demanding that. No response from the government. Wow. And the other thing that happened was there was the joyful legacy of Takaya with all of the art. And so local couple of wonderful people who have the Eagle Feather Gallery. They had actually seen Takaya when he was in the city and were very impacted. And as most people were who ever saw him, there was just something about him that shifted something in people. They had, for 3 years, we had the Takaya International Arts Festival, and which raised money for organizations who are conservation nonprofits who are trying to educate and fight for the rights of wolves. So there have been a lot of things happen, still continuing. There's a big social media presence. I still, on a now weekly basis, get contact from people who want to talk to me and find out what they can do and how they can help. It's been inspiring. And so his legacy just continues to grow, and I hope it continues to grow more, that he's not forgotten, that his life was taken unnecessarily and in a horrible way and tragically. It devastated me. I mean, it was, I can't even begin to tell you how I just couldn't comprehend that this is what people do when you're looking at this absolutely beautiful, healthy creature who's done nothing to you. And so I learned about trophy hunting. It's not a nice world. I started to get involved with trophy hunting, stopping trophy hunting, period. You know, why do we, in this day and age, why do we allow trophy hunting?
Yeah, it seems like the real trophy is the photographs and these stories, honestly. That's the trophy.
Yeah, if you need a trophy, do it differently. How
you can shoot, not shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's such an amazing story and it's inspired everyone, and you were, you know, the one that did this all for so many people. It's like Takaya's presence was a gift, but you being there was also a gift to people. Did you ever think when you first heard that howl on that boat on Mother's Day that you would be, to this day, talking about Takaya?
Never in a million years. It was an evolving passion, and it's been a huge gift in my life. And I am thankful every day that I had that connection and that I have been able to share it. And I am also incredibly grateful at the thousands of people who have contacted me and said how grateful they are that I have shared it with them. So I feel like, I guess in a way, that's my legacy, because I grew to love this wolf and admire and be inspired by him, and to be able to convey that to other people has been fabulous. So yeah, I would never in a million years, when I heard that howl, I knew something had happened to me, but I couldn't have told you what it would be.
If you'd like to check out Cheryl's work with Takaya's legacy, to learn more about her advocacy against wolf calls and trophy hunting, visit takayaslegacy.com. This episode was produced, hosted, and edited by me, Ryan Hook. Additional production from Eric Hinch at House of Owl. Special thanks to Tell Us Story Hive, who powered the episode. We'll see you next time.